The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 21st day of August, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. How was everyone's weekend? How did everybody do this weekend? Did your Eastern County team win? If so, let me hear an air horn. Yep, the red and white of Bayless Bay defeated the pink and green of Flats Victoria Cricket Club. So I'm a happy cricket fan, but I want to give a shout out. You know, yesterday was actually the second birthday for my mother since she's passed on. So happy belated birthday to my dear. She would have been 62. Yeah, 62. I'm telling her age, so she'll probably slap me up later on today, but happy belated birthday to the momster. And look, we just want to say thank you to Mark Arthur C. Phillips. He has been a member of the TDH community via YouTube for 10 months, says he's glad to be a member. Good morning, TDH family. So Mark, thank you so much. And folks, if you would like to support us as well, you can also financially support us and just hit join as low as $2.99 a month or $1.99. I don't know what it is, but just hit us up. You can become an official member of our YouTube channel by going on YouTube and hitting the join button. So again, thank you to Mark and the many others who have been riding with us and financially support us to ensure that we can do this every day and make it worth your while. But greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we discuss what a progressive Bermuda looks like. The word progressive means so many things to different people, right? But we're gonna explain from our own perspectives what a progressive Bermuda looks like. The daily players are who said it, and as you can tell, I'm here alone. So whoever guesses the author of this quote today will get to win a mug, right? A travel mug or a traditional mug. Also, folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Well, let's just jump right into it. Karen Simmons says, good morning, TDH. My Eastern Connors team won. Bayless Bay all day. Your mom shares a birthday with my great nephew, Zai. Happy birthday, Zai. Yes, I saw Zai had a birthday yesterday. 7 years old already. They get out of the way, don't they? Tanya Cheeseman says, good morning, Jamal. Have a good week. You as well, Tanya. Thank you for rocking with us. Karen, are you back in Bermuda? You've been traveling. We've missed you. You know, we haven't gotten you every day, but we're happy that we've had you some days. But let's jump right into it. The question of the morning is, what does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? But before that, we did a poll, right? And let's get a yes or no from the audience. Let's get a yes or no. The question on the poll on our website, on Instagram, was very simple. We asked, as you can see, I'm going to Instagram because I can't remember these things. My mind, it's not as young as it used to be. So the question was, come on, how did we get to that page? Do you consider Bermuda a progressive island? Yes or no? Do you consider Bermuda a progressive island? Yes or no? What are your thoughts, audience? Do you consider Bermuda a progressive island? Yes or no? We asked this question on on our Instagram, and crazy enough, I mean, I don't know if it's crazy to you all, but it's not looking good for whether or not Bermuda is progressive. But again, question: let us know. Do you think Bermuda is a progressive island? Is Bermuda? Do you consider Bermuda a progressive island? Yes or no? Simple question: yes or no? Do you consider Bermuda a progressive island? We asked the same question on Instagram, and based on the results on Instagram, 91%, 91% said no. 91% of respondents to whether or not they consider Bermuda a progressive island said no. That's interesting because I grew up thinking that Bermuda was extremely progressive in many ways, right? But the majority say no. Karen Simmons in the live audience, she says no. Tanya Cheeseman says no. We've got Rachel Dill says no. Rondell Richardson, no. Sean Smith says yes. Kathy Rogers says no. Nicole Walker says we like to think and say we are, but no. I think that was me though. I love to believe it. I loved to believe. But then I guess the question is, when we say yes or when we say no, what are we comparing it to? And so that's what brings today's question is, what does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? Because I think that what is the barometer? Like what is the line where we say, okay, we are progressive? Now, let's use politics, for instance. Now, I'm going to use women leaders. Bermuda was very well ahead of many other jurisdictions when it came to having women political leaders. I think even in the business space, we were very far ahead in terms of having, people, women in as leaders in private and public business, right? So I always thought we were progressive in that space. I thought growing up, we had great public transportation. I mean, you could get a bus pretty much any time of the day. We didn't have issues we have today with public transport. I always thought we were progressive. We had like a tremendous amount of people seeking higher education at one point. I mean, I guess my thinking was flawed. I guess I like the idea of thinking that we were progressive. So again, what does a progressive Bermuda look like to all of you? What does a progressive Bermuda look like to all of you? Now, Pam says no, she does not consider Bermuda progressive at all, which is also funny because we have a government that became government as a political party, and their first name is progressive. Their middle name is Labor, and their last name is Party. So it's interesting that many people, the majority, seem to think that Bermuda is not a progressive island when we're led by a group whose first name is progressive. But again, the question is, what does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? What do you think progress looks like to you? So I'm going to go to Instagram and read some of the responses, and they're still flying in, so bear with me. So we asked the question on Instagram, what does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? And one of the responses says, why can't I pay parking tickets online? Why isn't it all government forms on the website? Well, that would be progression, right? Like, it was just something last week that Maya was reporting on, and I was like, they can't do that online. So that is deemed progressive. I mean, technology, that makes sense. Another person says, why don't government departments talk to each other? TCD should be linked to everything to do with your car. Okay, progressive. Another person says, didn't pay my parking tickets, then can't license your car. Locals should be born with, I guess, SI number, social insurance number, and record everything. All right. Some more. Again, audience, if you have any, let us know. What does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? Someone says, data from Registry General should be linked to the Immigration Department. Yeah. Another person says, updated technology. When you say technology, what exactly are you talking about? Everything, or is it something specific? Because it seems like everything so far that has been shared via Instagram is technology, linking government. Another person says legalized same-sex marriage, better accessibility, freedom to be yourself without conformity. I There's only what 27 countries that have same-sex marriage, accessibility. I think Bermuda's excuse has always been it's so small to kind of create those kind of laws. Freedom to be yourself without conformity. Name me a country where you have that kind of freedom. So I guess I'm asking, where's the barometer? Where's the barometer? What do we mean? Does progression look like the United States to people, or the UK, or Russia? What does Canada? What does progress look like to the audience? And what does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? I'm not pushing back on anyone, but I'm always interested to see, like with conscription, for instance, there were only a handful of countries that had it. So we said, well, why do we? It's the opposite with same sex. There's a handful of countries that do have it. So are we jumping in with that small amount and saying the majority? Because I don't believe the majority should dictate what's in our best interest. I'm sorry. That's why I can't run for politics. Certain things shouldn't be up to all people. That's why you choose leaders who make decisions that they believe in the best interest of their people. Someone says, what does a progressive Bermuda look like? They said an efficient public transportation system that would decrease traffic on our roads. Another person says inclusive and welcoming to all. I don't think that's progressive. I'm sorry, I'm not welcoming child molester into my space. You all use this lingo and you think it sounds all comfy and lovey-dovey. No, it ain't. I am okay to discriminate against people being in my space if it's protecting those I love in myself. You got to stop with this stuff about, I'm against all forms of discrimination. No, it's all right to discriminate. I'm telling you right now today, if it's in your best interest, it's okay. I don't want a thief around my money in a bank. I don't want a predator around my family and children. Nope, I'm okay with it. So no, I don't believe in inclusive and welcoming to all. Sorry. But again, that's you. That's what you'd like to see in a progressive Bermuda. A city that remains open for business after 5 p.m. I have no problem with this. But are you willing to work after 5 p.m.? Are we willing to change our entire culture and mindset shift to make this happen? See, I'm just asking questions about what we deem progressive because we want certain things, but what are we willing to give up to get them? Got to ask ourselves these questions. Another person says, online shopping and banking, a society that accepts all colors, creeds, and nationalities. Okay. Online shopping, do you mean local stores having online options, or do you mean online shopping like overseas? A bit more information. And then someone says, where do I start? I don't think there's enough characters to answer in this box. Okay. All right, so let's go to the live audience. What does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? Karen Simmons, she says, progressive looks like infrastructure, highways / roads, parks and beaches, upkeep and maintenance, public and private transportation, options for digital and face-to-face interactions. Let me stop there because when I used to work in the Bermuda tourism, I remember, we would be in the cars and driving them around on these fam trips. And they would always say how Bermuda was so beautiful and pristine, which separated, Bermuda from most islands. And now when I come back, it's like the hedges aren't trimmed and, it's just not the same as it was before. The roundabouts don't look, as pristine as they once looked. This coincides with the buses breaking down and so on. Folks, this all didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight. But this is a part of, if anything, one could argue that Bermuda has been regressive, right? But I take your point, Karen Simmons. That is all a part of infrastructure, is a big part of a progressive Bermuda. Manuela John says, technology may be progressive, but the mindset of decision makers needs to catch up. Seems like there is a problem with going paperless. Every time I sign up to something out here, they encourage you to go paperless. And I just can't understand why I wouldn't. I can't understand. I remember I was working at the arena some years ago, about 3, 4 years ago, and there were some older people, I'm not going to say old, but older people who were upset that we were doing digital tickets now. The reason they still wanted paper tickets is because they collected memories and they had these books that they would put their tickets in and so on. So there's people who love tradition and not going paperless. But I agree. Those in charge need to evolve with the technology or get left behind. Folks, question of the morning is, what does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? The majority, 90-something%, have said that they don't deem Bermuda a progressive island. So what does a progressive island look like to you? What does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, the answer is in how we provide services such as transportation, healthcare, and utilities, and treat and protect the most vulnerable and or marginalized communities. All of that right there, Charles. I just want to say this. We have our likes and dislikes. And I want to say this today, and I just hope it sticks with people. Regardless of how you feel about others, if they're not causing you any sort of harm, be it physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, any sort of harm, just treat them with love and respect. I think we have a problem loving and respecting people who differ from us. I think we have a problem loving and respecting people who think differently from us. I think we have a problem loving and respecting people who are not us. We've got to fix that. What does a progressive Bermuda look like to you, audience? Let us know. What does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? I haven't answered. I'm going to say this. I want to echo what Charles said. I think he said it best. A progressive Bermuda for me is really, what I state in my, if you've ever received an email from me, you would know that in my thumbnail, my signature, I basically, it's written, when I depart this earth, my hope is that I would have achieved more than enough to improve the livelihood of society's most vulnerable people, vulnerable citizens. But I live by that. I believe that a progressive Bermuda does take care and ensure its most vulnerable are able to live a life worth a living. I believe that the bare necessities like healthcare, like Charles mentioned, shelter. That's what a progressive Bermuda looks like to me. But again, it's funny that we're, 90+% of respondents to the poll, not going to say Bermudians, nothing scientific, but 90+%, and then all but one person on this live show today has said that they don't deem Bermuda progressive. But the government that we have today is a political party whose first name is progressive, middle name labor, and last name party. How do you consciously govern knowing that people don't deem you progressive? They don't deem the policies progressive. They don't deem the country progressive. It's easy to sleep at night when it's a job to you. But if you truly care about people, you shouldn't be able to sleep comfortably. What does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? Sean Smith says, comparing Bermuda to where I currently live, Bermuda's labor laws and workers' rights are far more advanced. Tell us more, Sean. Where do you live, and what are some labor laws and workers' rights that you would compare to Bermuda? Give us more. What? Please, I would love to hear this, because he brings up a good point. I know a lot of Bermudians would say, well, Bermuda's so far behind. I don't think Bermuda's as far behind as we make it seem, especially with human rights, especially with human rights. And I'm one who believes all human rights are bad. I do. But we're not as far behind in labor laws. Folks, I remember, I don't know if this is still the case, but there were only 2 countries in the world when I was in graduate school that didn't offer women by law, legislated, maternity leave. These United States of America were one. Is this the kind of progression we want? I mean, in Bermuda, there are laws in terms of, and look, feel how we feel about the unions, but Bermuda's unions actually did a very great job of ensuring workers' protection. They got a lot of things legislated. Workers' rights in these United States of America, I'm not quite sure this is progress. So thank you for that, Sean. When it comes to labor laws and workers' rights, Bermuda actually is probably far more advanced. I was talking to someone recently in the US, and they're actually from Europe, and they were telling me, I find it amazing how in the US, you get, say, 15, 20 days of PTO. That includes your sick time, vacation, all of it at most companies. Bermuda, you could get 19 days plus another 8, depending on job, but most companies really go beyond the legislation. So I think Bermuda, it's a balancing act, because while I believe that we are far behind in some respects, I think we are pretty advanced in others. Does that mean we're progressive? I'm not quite sure. I think we've regressed over the last decade or so, if not more. Elephant 999 says progressive looks like a proper, healthy community, no diseases or pollution, and living as per the laws of nature. It is very possible. Progress, healthy. When we read the numbers, when we're given the numbers, when we're reporting the numbers on diseases, diabetes, we're not a healthy community. Michael Daniels says, an informed population that is formed from the past, not stuck in the past. Ooh, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. This is a good one, because we love to live in the past when it's convenient for us. We love it. We love to live in the past when it's convenient, especially politically. But we must not stay there. Kathy Rogers says it's difficult to progress if the same people are in the same leadership positions forever. But I also feel as if, as much as we want change, people don't like change. When change is suggested, there's pushback depending on the situation. I agree, Kathy. Change, we all, none of us want to stay where we are. But like progress, change looks and feels different to all of us. I do think as a community, we have pushed back on change, especially tourism, and maybe rightfully so. But in order to progress, we need to get in a space where we have some compromise and understanding on what's in our best interest. And when I say our best interest, I mean everyone, not just one or two of us. What does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? Charles H. Jaffers agrees with Sean. He says, but we see those laws slowly being eroded away. See the recent Fairmont-Southampton deal, probably a topic for another day. Yes, Charles. Renee Simmons says, standard health insurance with childcare to the age of entering school, low-cost housing for single-parent families and the elderly, shelter and food for the homeless. I don't know how I feel about that last sentence, shelter and food for the homeless. A progressive Bermuda wouldn't have homeless, so there would be no need for shelter and food. I would say shelter and food for the vulnerable. But no one should be homeless in a progressive society. And I know some people say, oh, there will always be homeless. No. There does not have to be homeless. There does not have to be homelessness nor poverty. Systems create this, and those systems can change so that we can eradicate it. Sean Smith was comparing the laws with Portugal, where he resides. So he resides in Portugal. He said, he goes on to say, you are expected to work on average 10 to 12 daily without any overtime compensation. You can lose your job if you take a sick day. Well, I think that's something I think is really good about many places in Bermuda. In the US, if you're on salary, regardless of where you work, most places you don't get overtime. In Bermuda, you can be on salary and some places still get overtime. So that's not all places, but I think that's a great thing that many of the unions fought for. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, he says, I agree with Mr. Daniels. We must learn from the past and not live in the past. And we've seen Bermuda be impacted. So folks, another quick yes or no, quick yes or no. Do you consider today, do you consider Bermuda a progressive island? If to answer that question today, based on our living today, yes or no, do you consider Bermuda a progressive island? Yes or no? I'm going to say no. And the reason I'm saying no is I'm comparing it. I just renewed my license in Bermuda and Florida within the last 4 weeks. One, I just went online and updated my information. The other, I had to go to a doctor, then I had to go to TCD, and then I had to, like, it was more of a process. So just from that experience, I was just like, the way to create life for your people is not to make things difficult or harder, it's to make things seamless. And I just feel like we're not there in Bermuda. So based on that experience and others, but I'm just using that as a something most recent. And I know a lot of people have mentioned technology. I'm not quite sure we're in a space where I could say Bermuda is progressive. So yes or no, do you think Bermuda's progressive? Sam Catplay says no. Polly Rich says no. Renee Simmons, no. Jamaica says no. NTS says no. Nicole Walker says no. Jeanette Richardson says no. Adeline Swan says Bermuda would simply look like the Daily Hour. Progressive, period. Well, thank you, Adeline. We're going to continue the conversation, but we've got a news break with Maya coming up, and we'll get back to the convo, but think about it. What would a progressive Bermuda look like to you? I'm interested to hear from Maya to see what a progressive Bermuda would look like to her. She's, I think, very good at giving suggestions. I listen to her. You all should too. Let's go to Maya Palacio for your Daily Hour news break. It's Monday, so it's probably going to be long and informative.
Good morning, good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
Oh, you got me thinking over here about this question. Like, what does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? And from the comments, it's gotten me like my mind's turning because I'm like, progressive or accessible? Like, and I'm just like, maybe it's both the same. That's what, people both need. Things that are more accessible is what makes us more progressive. I will agree on some cases, like Bermuda does do better than other countries, especially when it comes to, what you said, paternity leave, maternity leave now. And also like, because in the States, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But in Canada, it's better. I know that there's like, because one of my friends, and she's like, yeah, I can take a whole year off maternity leave. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing for her and her child. In Canada, but in the States, it's literally nothing. So it's interesting to hear what people believe will be, or what makes the island progressive or not progressive enough. So
it's interesting because again, I don't know much about the UK and Canada, but I always thought Canada was actually one of the most progressive in the West, based on their healthcare and just some of the legislation and policies. I remember when the current prime minister was appointed or won election, Justin Trudeau, That's his name, right? Justin Trudeau.
Mhm.
Yeah, every person in his cabinet had a background in what they were overseeing. Like if somebody was overseeing education, they were an educator. Health, they were a health doctor or something. I thought that was like what Bermudians were screaming for, right? And the excuse in Bermuda was always, well, the ministers don't do the work. It's the civil servants and all that. And I'm just like, but wouldn't it make more sense? But never mind. But I just always, again, not knowing much about Canada, thought that it would be a great example to follow at the time. So it's just so interesting, Maya, what people consider progressive versus non-progressive.
Mhm. And then I know my friends that are in the UK, it's just a lot more livable spaces. Obviously, probably not in London, but Manchester for the most part, it's just like, yeah, I can afford this type situation, and it's very easy transportation, like no struggle, no stress about figuring out whether or not you're going to get the bus or make it on time because you can't really see where it is. All those type of everyday issues that impact the everyday person's life. So in that terms, like thinking about whether or not Bermuda is progressive, like I think we're trying. But in the everyday life, there are small things that can make a major difference that we just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. Indeed, I agree. I agree. This is a large conversation. I mean, this conversation could go on for weeks, if not months. But I think the more we talk about it, the more we can come up with ideas on how we can collectively make Bermuda progressive and accessible for Bermudians and actually everyone that wants to contribute to Bermuda.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Starting up my news this morning with some good news. We like to hear about some good news. So, 5 young Bermudians who recently finished their renewable energy certificate for installer training. The program provided theoretical and technical training and certification in the solar energy industry. The participants were Katori Smith-Tacklin, Giancarlos Gutierrez, Rainey Maybury, Javante Trott, and Malachi Hayward. The Renewable Solar Energy Training Program provided direct support for the growth and development of knowledge, application, and career pathways for youth interested in becoming certified solar installers, and by extension, increasing the capacity of installations of renewable energy industry in the local workforce. The 4-week training program included various installation work sites at businesses and homeowners' properties, allowing the trainees practical knowledge and understanding and hands-on application experience in the real world of work. Mr. Jashawn Stovall, who's the owner of Enlightened Expertise, developed and delivered the Renewable Energy Solar Training Program, and 4 of the trainees have completed interviews to secure full-time employment.
So does this mean that they're going to be able to help people save on their utilities bill?
This means they could definitely work in the solar industry. So like people that do all the paneling, like Greenlight Energy, for example, is one, and the enterprise there that actually put and delivered the whole program together.
I like that. I like that. Congratulations too.
Yeah, it definitely aligns with the whole Going Green initiative because we definitely need more people in those spaces. So even potentially those new electric buses, maybe that's something that they'll be able to focus on too, knowing that those are having a bit of issues as well.
Sounds good.
Going up next, so over the weekend was the first ever vegan fest event in Bermuda. It got a big crowd, bigger than it intended, actually, from what the host was saying and people who actually showed up at the event. So here's a quick video if you weren't there, just to feel the vibes of what actually happened at the event. Apologies, I don't think it was working just now. I'm going to try it one more time and see.
All righty.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. Technical difficulties there. You're not going to be able to see that video. We might put it on the socials afterwards. But it was a pretty big crowd. And if you haven't tried out a lot of the people there that was there for the first time ever, or even, Alkaline Triangle, I know that was a big one. They had a major line at the event. Everyone was going to try out their food. So if you haven't had any vegan food before, definitely want to check that out next year. It's probably going to be a lot bigger.
So hold on. So I saw someone eating like watermelon fries, and I was like, how do you get watermelon fries? And then it looked like, tell me if I was wrong, audience, it looked like they just cut watermelon into like French fry shapes. I'm like, man, I thought you had some fried battered watermelon or something. Gee, I thought it was something crazy.
A fried battered watermelon?
I thought it was good. Look, they turned broccoli into fries. They turned cauliflower into pizza. Anything's possible, Maya.
Well, when you think of cauliflower pizza, what are you gonna expect?
I mean, I don't. I ain't tried it yet. I don't know.
Okay, just if I heard watermelon fries, I'm probably gonna expect cut up pieces of watermelon in the shape of fries.
I don't know. Well, here's a question from Charles H. Jefferson II.
Mhm.
He's asking, did it attract many visitors? And I know you said next year, but I know they had the seafood fest last year this time. So are they going to be doing like a different festival every year? Is it? I stand by this. Congratulations to the BTA on putting it on. But again, I don't think that's the job of a destination marketing organization. I think their job is to market the island. I think you leave this kind of stuff to people on island and support them. But again, hopefully it was a great time, and it helps Bermuda drive tourism forward.
Well, just like the seafood festival, though, I did hear that at the vegan fest, a lot of people ran out of their food really early. Again, they were expecting a low number, and so people weren't as prepared as they probably should have been. Some stands, not all stands, some stands did have their food all the way through to the very end, but others did not. But yeah, that's something also to work on. I know at the seafood festival, people ran out of food really early. And for this one, I believe they said potentially they were preparing for 1,000, and then I believe over 2,000 may have showed up. Same for the seafood one, they were potentially expecting 2,000, and over 4,000 showed up. So if there's events including food, I think you should probably think Bermudians probably want to go and check it out. But yeah, as for tourists, I'm not entirely sure the numbers, but it was in Dockyard, so you could say there was a good amount of tourists there for the season.
Cool.
Right. Moving on with some other news, the Office of the Chief Medical Officer has identified a case of whopping cough, also known as pertussis, in a workplace setting. This potentially means that there is a circulating pertussis in the community. So here's a graphic here just coming from the CDC about whopping cough and just the stages of how you get it and the symptoms that you may get from it. So just a little bit more information. Pertussis is a highly contagious illness and is usually spread by coughing or sneezing while in close contact with others. Indirect spread through the air or contaminate objects is rare. Unlike the common cold, exposure to pertussis bacteria can be very dangerous and lead to severe illness, and in rare cases, death, specifically in young people or people with a weakened immune system. So again, there's some examples there of just the stages as well. But just so you know that the government of Bermuda did put out more information about pertussis as well. But the best thing you could do, obviously, is call your GP, particularly call them first before you go in if you believe that you or a child in your presence has any symptoms at all of the whopping cough.
That's not good.
No, it's not. But some medical sites, as I've been reading, it sometimes takes around 3 weeks to subside if you do have the whopping cough. Again, for some people, it just can feel like nothing, but others, it could be like a real big whop. You might actually end up vomiting a lot of mucus as well. So, if you feel the symptoms, come on, call your GP, call your doctor, also ask them a little bit more about the whopping cough.
Scary times.
Mhm.
Okay.
Coming up. Sorry?
Telling people get checked if you think you got some symptoms.
Mm-hmm. There is also a vaccine for it as well. They did mention, so you may already have it, but mainly antibacterial tablets that you'll probably be taking if you feel like you have it. Your doctor might prescribe for you if you can't get through it like on your own and you need that extra help. But yeah, drink your water, ask your doctor about the whopping cough. Next into the news this morning, Jason Mello. Detectives are renewing their appeal for information in connection with the murder of 25-year-old Jason Mello. Mr. Mello was fatally shot around 7:35 p.m. Friday, the 19th of August in 2016. This was 7 years ago. Whilst on Bandram Lane, Pembroke, the gunman is believed to have entered Bandram Lane wearing a full-face visor helmet and heavy dark-colored winter clothing that would have been unusual in a hot August evening. Investigators continue to appeal for witnesses or anyone who may have any information, no matter how insignificant it may seem, to please call Detective Sergeant Dean Martin on 717-2074. And also, speak to a police officer that is also another option. Detective says that there is someone out there who knows the person responsible for Mr. Mello's death. We urge you to come forward and speak with us. You have the option of remaining anonymous by also using the Crime Stoppers number 800-8477.
And I mean this as no disrespect, but What's so sad and crazy is you really, as time goes on, you forget about certain murders that they took place, and these families still don't have justice. My hope, as you see it in the United States a lot, my hope is that as people get older, their conscience starts to do its work, and we get answers to some of these cases. I really, really hope for that.
Yeah. I think we know now in Bermuda that there are over 30 unsolved like murders, and it's just, you know, we often do, like you said, we do forget, but those who remember definitely remember. And those who know something, please say something, as we always say. And as you know, what you just said, Jamal, about like in older ages, people feel maybe the conscience takes over and allows them to like say these things. But some of these unsolved murders have been going on for so many years, so many years.
Somebody knows.
Somebody knows.
People know.
Mm-hmm. Also, into this news break, just want to make it clear. Last week when I spoke about Genetics' new project that's like very well, like first in the world for the Caribbean project when it comes to breast cancer, I mentioned how Dr. Ayo Onoye, so I can't pronounce the last name right now.
The former CMO.
Yeah, the former CMO. I had it before the show, but now I can't get it. The former CMO, he was not actually a part or affiliated with Genetics in any way, but I do want to make it clear that this may have been actually his last, thing to do as the CMO, as he is now the former. That was probably the last event or anything that he took part of as the CMO of Bermuda, was just speaking at the press conference there. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Alrighty.
And next up on the list when it comes to sports, I know I mentioned about our under 14 nationals team going off to play in the CFU Girls Under 14 Challenger Series. Well, they did win their very first game, which was really exciting. They won, claiming a 2-0 win over Antigua and Barbuda. So that was a really good victory for the girls there. Their second game, though, they did unfortunately lose, but to a very close match, which led them to a 1-0 loss at the very end of the game. And this was against Bonaire. But they're still doing well out there.
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the first international games that they're playing together as a team, as a young team, so they're doing very well.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Little ladies doing the thing.
Yes. And then our weather report today, we got a few showers with a chance of thunder developing in the afternoon and a high of 86 degrees. There was also a message from the Minister of National Security just telling everyone to be prepared for hurricane season and get yourself like focused and prepped for that.
Indeed. I did see, I haven't been able to watch the World Championships, but I know Bermuda had Janai Parent-Chief there.
Yes.
Did he, I don't know if he made it.
Unfortunately, he didn't get any marks put on for him and for others at that triple jump match. They just couldn't get a qualifying mark in. So
okay. Well, we'll go hard next time, but we continue to support our Bermudian athletes around the world doing their thing. It's days of the year I think you'll like today.
Oh gosh.
Oh, why you don't trust me? It's a good one. I think you'll like it. It's poetry.
Okay.
All right. Poetry. So the history of poetry, its most basic description, poetry is a form of writing that uses the aesthetic and rhythmic qualities of a language combined with smile and metaphor to bring out meanings deeper than the mere definition of words. So the history of Poetry Day, it was founded by William Sigard in 1994. He's a British philanthropist, entrepreneur, and publisher. He also founded Forward Prizes for Poetry. He's a major award ceremony for poetry, which is presented once a year. So how do you celebrate Poetry Day? Take up the pen, or I don't know if people take up pens anymore, so your keyboard, and write what's in your heart today. Whether you were describing a sunny morning in a garden, the tumultuous rumble of people on a city street, or the final struggling moments of a dying robin in the lawn. Bring the world through your eyes to the page.
Do you have a favorite author?
Well, I have a poem for you all today.
Okay.
All right. Roses are red, violets are blue. I, Jamal Hartman, love every one of you.
We could.
You didn't.
Okay.
You all didn't love my poem. Good one.
So praise.
I wrote it myself. You know. You know what? Wait, thank you, Kathy. I didn't want to take them too far away from anything, you know.
So original.
I didn't want to take them far from anything, you know. I was trying to keep it to what they knew. Thank you, Heaven. I think you laughed something. You like poetry, Maya?
I do love poetry. I used to do a lot of it back in like middle school and primary school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big part of my life, I would say.
Who's
And
your
that's how like I got connected with Maya Angelou a lot because of my name, and so I just wanted to know all of her poems for a while. And then my favorite book was actually given to me by my sister. I think it was like poetry book. I think the person's name was Rupi Kaur, and it was like Milk and Honey. And that one has like very simplistic lines of just life and experiences, mostly as a woman. And I loved those a lot as well. So yeah, poetry. Yeah, I love poetry.
She loves poetry, folks. All right, Maya Angelou, that's your person.
I would definitely go for Maya Angelou, yes. But in Bermuda, I love Aisha Townsend. I don't know if anyone's heard of any of her poems or stand-up poetry that she does. Stand-up spoken word more than poetry, but Aisha's really good in Bermuda. I like her work.
Okay. I like Tupac. He was a poet, turned rapper. But Maya Angelou was probably the ones that I read the most of because it was all around as the way they hyped her up, a Black woman who led with her words. So Mark Arthur Phillips is asking, do you love rap, Maya?
Do I love rap?
Yeah.
I like old school rap. I don't really like the rap of today. If they even consider today's music rap, I just don't.
It's trash. It's trash. I try. I go on YouTube, try to listen to today's stuff. I'm just like, what is this? But
yeah, back in the day, I used to like Google the lyrics. I could really understand, and now I'm like, what? When I Google the lyrics today, I'm just like, this isn't for me.
I think rap is art. It's definitely poetry, but today's rap, I think the messaging is just a bit off. But folks, we're going to take a quick break. Maya, thank you so much for that. And we're going to continue the conversation, what a progressive Bermuda looks like to you. We're going to do a giveaway as well, because I have to give you guys something since no one's here to do the daily play with me. All right. So I think the hint was in the conversation between Maya and myself today. I'll leave it at that. See you later, Maya.
Check you guys later.
You all ain't gonna get it.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandy Town Field. Number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All righty, welcome back to The Big Show. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, so earlier we were talking about, and I know we did have another comment that came through. The question of the morning was, what does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? And we had Kathy Ann Painter said, no, we are a reactive country, definitely not progressive. So she was saying that, no, she doesn't think that we are a progressive country. We're reactive. I think she's absolutely correct in many respects. Sheldon Fox says, I would say that that the progressive we are looking for will cost us. And if we, the people, are asking the government to provide it, it isn't going to happen. If the people aren't progressive, the government is a reflection of the people they serve. I think I couldn't have said it better. I absolutely agree with Sheldon Fox here. At the end of the day, I'm Sheldon, and tell me if I'm wrong. If we want a better transportation system, I'm going to take the word public out of it. It's not going to happen under the government. It may have to be privatized. And I'm not quite sure we understand what that may cost us as a country. That's an example, I think, that Sheldon Fox, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, that's probably an example that I can speak to for you. It's very interesting when we talk about progress, because again, it means, he said exactly. Okay, so exactly. So we have to kind of think of that stuff. We have to think about what it's going to cost us, what it's going to look like, feel like, and how it actually changes us for the better and worse. It's not going to be all shiny and great. As we know, change can be difficult, it can be painful, but that doesn't mean it's not good for us. So again, what does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? Is it going to require open heart surgery? We've got to answer these questions. Do we have suggestions that we can give our said MP in our constituency? Do we have ideas that are not going to cost us our entire culture? Is there a way to evolve without going so far away from what we're used to? Or do we need to get far away from what we're used to? Progressive, it means different things to different people. A progressive Bermuda, I don't know if it's a collective thing. But what I do know, and I think many would agree, we can't just stay where we are. Let's take a final break, and then the daily play coming up after this. Someone is going to win, I hope. Someone will win a daily hour mug. I mean, if you want one, you can win a daily hour mug. Let's take our final break. Stick with us. We'll be back after this. Your chance to answer the daily play correctly and win a prize.
Hi, welcome to ER Fisheries. I'm Jalen Steed, store manager and trained chef, and I'm here to help you with all of your food needs. Let's talk about why you should come and check out ER Fisheries. We offer the widest range of specialty meats and seafood items at a price point that will absolutely fit your budget. As a chef, I'm able to answer all of your food questions, help you come up with meal ideas, and generally guide you in the right direction. You'll get a custom shopping experience unlike any other food store in Bermuda, where we'll cater to your needs and provide you with excellent customer service. Where else can you get quality cooking advice and quality products? I look forward to helping you with all your meal ideas.
To the BAC group of companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. Folks, if you appreciated today's conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share this conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues, what a progressive Bermuda looks like to them. take these concerns to the people who can make a difference, whether that's your politicians, whether that's your family, your friends, entrepreneurs, your business organization, your job, whoever. I think these conversations can be helpful and healthy for a better, progressive, and more accessible Bermuda. All right, so we got a question. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Audience, yes or no? Are you ready for today's? It's a who said it. Are you ready? Yes or no? We will go once everybody tells me they're ready. Are you ready for today's trivia? And before we do that, we had one more person. What does a progressive Bermuda look like to you? They said, open to foreigners, open to others, being able to love who they want and be who they are. All right, so yeah, we've got a lot of contributions. Karen Simmons says no, she's not ready for today's Daily Play. Charmaine Richardson says yes. Rondell Richardson says, so the Richardsons are ready. The Simmons is not. So we're gonna go. It's a democracy in here. You know, I'm not necessarily a fan of it all the time, but Auntie Karen, we're gonna go with the Richardsons. All right. Are you guys relatives at all? Let's do it. Here's today's Daily Play question. It is a who said it. The hint was in the conversation earlier. Who is the author of this famous quote? The desire to reach the stars is ambitious. The desire to reach hearts is wise and most possible. Oh, wow. Kathy Rogers said it first on my screen, but everyone got it. You all paying attention today. Everyone got it. Kathy Rogers, you're going to get yourself the mug, but Rondell Richardson, Rosalind Famous, Karen Simmons, Michelle White, Essence of Elegance Events, Yolanda Richards, you all came through. Look, this between us, right? Don't tell Sherry Sanchalaria and them, but you all got it. All of you got it. They would have been, no, not that. Oh, what's the question again? Again, this between us. But you all just showed them how it's done. No, you really did. You showed them how it's done. Congratulations. Give Kathy Rogers a big round of applause in the audience, folks. Kathy, please send us an email, engage@thedailyhour.com. It's time for the Daily Inspiration brought to you by ER Fishers and Foods. Here's one for you. Progress is the attraction that moves humanity. And that's by Marcus Garvey. Leave you with that today. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day, and make sure you give us a love, like, follow, and share this with your friends, colleagues, and family. See you tomorrow.